No hate to degenerosity, but Rent a Girlfriend is not the worst piece of fiction, not even close. Juujika no Rokunin makes other fictional stories like Rent a Girlfriend look like an Oscar award winning series. This manga has got to be the most disgusting, horrible, and unserious creation I've had the disservice of laying my eyes upon. And the reason I'm even making this video is because the profile picture I have on my YouTube channel is based on the main character of this manga. And when I was trying to explain to a friend the plot and story of it after not reading it in years, I was thinking that I actually sounded so ridiculous to the point that I was completely questioning what I was even talking about and why I even started reading this series at all. Because when you just hear this story described to you, it sounds so absurd, like it makes zero sense at all. I stopped reading it at some point because I just couldn't deal with how bad it was getting. But I found out not too long ago that the series had concluded with a total of 232 chapters of straight carnage. So I recently did the displeasure of rereading the whole manga start to finish, and bro, let me tell you, the story ain't get any better. In fact, it gets even worse. And for y'all to see for yourselves just what we're working with, here's a synopsis of the story in the first chapter. So this manga is about this guy Aruma Shun, and at 12 years old, he is getting ruthlessly bullied by this group of 5 kids in elementary school, with their leader being this psychotic ass boy named Shigoku Kyo. And these aren't your typical elementary school bullies. No. Not only does he get physically beat up, this man was getting shot by BB guns, forced to drink some of the most disgusting concoctions ever created with fucking bugs in it, but he was also getting this done to him. Dog, whose devilish ass kids are these? And their leader Shigoku is by far the worst one out of all of them. I'm being so serious when I'm telling y'all this guy is the embodiment of Satan's greatest soldier. You know, when you ask kids what they want to be in the future, they usually say something along the lines of they want to go to space, become a doctor, or nowadays they want to be a streamer or YouTuber and have aura like me and Marlon. This kid Shigoku at the age of 12 said with a straight face and with full seriousness that he wanted to become the first murderer without a reason or motive. Son, what? This is the bullshit that them white kids be saying to motherfuckers before a school shooting happens, and the parents will be like, oh, we didn't see the signs, when their entire personality are them corny dark psychology videos on YouTube. And then these 4 dumbasses are just following him. Like, gang, never listen to this guy. What is wrong with y'all? But despite the fuckery that Ruma has to deal with at school, he still has some light in his life, as he's got a good and loving family with a younger brother that he deeply cares for. So he tries his best to put up this facade around his family that nothing is wrong and that he's doing just fine at school. But then one day, for absolutely no reason other than for the complete love of the game, the leader of the bullies planned and staged an entire car accident in which he ended up sliming out both of Ruma Shun's parents, and then after the car crash happened, opened the door to the backseat of the car, and he beat Shun's 6-year-old brother with a rock he found on the ground, and then lit the car on fire, which placed Shun's brother in a coma for the unforeseeable future. So after this entire incident, Shun goes to live with his grandpa in the mountains, which his grandpa so conveniently turned out to be a Japanese Secret Service soldier from a group called the Kitayama Corps during World War II. And because of his time there, he has knowledge on the most brutal ways you could kill and torture a person. And when Shun told his grandpa what happened, his grandpa was like, bet, let me train you. So for a few years, he stayed with his grandpa, who trained this man Shun so that he could exact his revenge on his bullies for what he did to his parents and his brother in whatever way he wanted. And that's how the first chapter goes. Now, I'm not gonna lie, back then, I was intrigued by this beginning and I wanted to see where it went. But looking at it now, this shit was just a really stupidly dark and corny story about revenge. And I don't know how I didn't stop reading after like the first 30 chapters, because the way that the main character exacts his revenge on these bullies is through the most gruesome torture methods I've seen. If I were to go into detail how Shun tortured and killed some of these bullies, I think my video would deadass get demonetized right away. Also, I can't defend Aruma Shun's corny nature because this dude will not shut up about this goddamn revenge and needing to kill kill someone. Like, gang, for a second, shut that shit up. After like 60 chapters or something, he ends up smoking the first 4 bullies with little to no effort. But the majority of the manga, unfortunately, ends up being a whole dragged out journey to kill the leader and the one who started everything. And I gotta spin back on Shigoku because he's got to be the most evil and most insane manipulator I've ever seen. He makes people like Light Yagami seem like sunshine and rainbows. At least the Light thinks he's trying to do the right thing and trying to bring justice. Shigoku, on the other hand, is just harming motherfuckers for absolutely no reason. The crimes this dude commits are so egregious and insane that hitting this man with multiple life sentences or even the death penalty don't even come close as punishment for what he does throughout the entire series. You know it is an issue when a police inspector begs the main character to slime this man out. Shigoku's entire personality is pain and death is fun, and he tortures for the love of the game, which at first glance is really disturbing, but also so unbelievably corny. Oh my god. This is who the people that say they punch metal lockers for fun think they are. Like, gang, we can't be serious right now. It doesn't help either that bro has some of the craziest plot armor I've seen too. He ends up starting an entire cult with so many individuals and enables them to do just the most wicked shit ever. But you're telling me he somehow managed to get everyone in his hometown to get involved and join his cult, and that this motherfucker got away with it for years? How is the law enforcement this non-existent? How is bro moving like Prime Bond, taking over an entire town with a cult of more than 100,000 people in it and getting away with this? With all that being said, I completely understand the main character. This motherfucker is pure evil. I would not let this man slide at all, and some of these panels where Shun is just going crazy are low-key valid. I would crash the fuck out too. But even though I found the art of his character pretty decent, that alone still does not excuse it for being one of the most ludicrous stories I've ever seen. Because when you just take a moment to just sit there and think realistically about it, what do you mean an elementary school kid in the 5th grade plotted to slime out someone's parents for absolutely no reason, which then caused another 12-year-old to train in the mountains and was taught every single way to kill a person? This is the scenario that motherfuckers who wish they were someone like Ayano Koji wishes they were in. This shit just sounds so unbelievable and bizarre. I can't even take it serious. I haven't even addressed the biggest elephant in the room. An extremely big issue that this manga has is that there's just so many scenes of someone getting SA'd, and it's so unnecessary and uncomfortable. It was one of the main reasons why I even dropped this series in the first place. If the author wasn't so weirdly obsessed with drawing and having female characters getting SA'd the entire series, it would probably be 5 times better than it is. There is also actually negative character development from anybody in this entire series, because every single seemingly important supporting character to the story just ends up getting tortured or killed off. There was this one detective female character that they were hyping up after the time skip, more on that later, and NPCs were straight glazing her in her introduction, only for her to get bodied from a big ass hammer near the end for absolutely no reason. However, there's one thing I want to talk about before I start wrapping this video up. Let me talk about the chapters that completely made me lose all interest in wanting to continue this series in the first place. After Aruma slammed out the 4th bully, this man Shigoku shows up at his brother's hospital room, casually talking to him. Now look, I don't know about y'all, but if I knew someone as dangerous as Shigoku knew where my brother was in the hospital, I am forcing my family out of the country and making sure they cannot find them. That should have been his first instinct. But no, this brain dead ass main character lets his brother get kidnapped, causing the first showdown between Aruma and Shigoku. And throughout this entire encounter, Aruma Shun put up the most Tony Snell performance I've ever seen. There was a point when Shun's grandfather showed up, and I thought they were going to put belt to ass on everyone in the room after rescuing his brother from Shigoku's hand. But then Shun just allows this man Shigoku to steal his brother right back from him. Shigoku then has one of his members of his cult try to chainsaw the little brother to death. So then the grandpa sacrifices his life to save him, which ended up being in vain anyway, because right after, Aruma sees Shigoku kill his brother right in front of him. Bro, I have such an issue with this sequence of events, because this man Shun deadass lost everything important to him. I know some of y'all freaks in the comments gonna be like, but Ninchuno, he was pulling every female in the entire series. He bags all the baddies. Twin, no small amount of poom poom is gonna fix the fact that his entire family is dead. The one time you get to see what his grandpa is made of, since he's the one who taught the main character everything he knows, he immediately gets killed off along with his brother, who just got out of a coma, by the way. That's horrible writing! And at the end of this encounter, Shigoku gets away, and Aruma ends up getting framed for the murders that happened. And then there's an entire time skip after he goes to prison for a few years, and he somehow developed amnesia. And that's the point where I stopped reading when I first read through it, because if there's more to the story, it's gonna be more torture and SA scenes, and I didn't want to deal with all that. But due to the series ending, I was curious to see how it played out from there. And it's what I expected. Motherfuckers were getting tortured, SA'd for absolutely no reason. But most importantly, the thing that I did not see coming at all. You're telling me that these motherfuckers Shun and Shigoku used to be friends before all this? This has gotta be the worst written plot twist I think I've ever seen. It deadass went like this. Yo, you know we used to be homeboys for real, right? Here's the pictures to prove it. Nah, on everything I love, on my dead family, on my shorty you killed in front of me, that's AI. Yo, gang, if you don't believe me, then just put this shit on real quick. Oh yeah, I remember everything. He telling the truth. Gang, what is this? There was literally zero indication the entire series that these two had any history before he was bullied. None at all. That has got to be the dumbest shit I've ever read. In conclusion, genuinely never read this manga. It is the biggest waste of time. The author got a unique art style, but please, never cook with the writing again.
Pull up on my block, we smoke that AEO.